How are you doing? Everything cool?
Dude, you crushed that demo.
It freaking is amazing.
I appreciate you, man. I really do.
Yeah. Even I was just doing a Zoom thing with some friends, and Bob Bergen was on our Zoom thing, and he like brought it up. He goes, "By the way, amazing job on Mark Smeltzer's demo." He goes, "It was just so great," because normally Bob will have like changes.
What do you mean changes?
He'll be like, well, it's a little bit too long. Maybe cut it down. And I would put the third spot first and put the second spot last. And like and he goes, it was just perfect. Like he goes from beginning to end. It was perfect. I wouldn't have changed the thing.
I bet that felt good.
It felt good. That's not Bob's like normal thing. So I was like, wow, okay. We definitely knocked it out of the park.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Are you ready? Ready to do this? All right. Have you ever seen one of these, by the way?
Yeah, I've seen Bob's, and I've seen a couple of others that when I was, doing a little bit of research on you.
Oh boy. All right. Well, as you know, that I don't prep these questions because I feel that when we first met, I think we kind of talked about that too in your office. Like, dude, I just like getting to know people. I like getting people to know who you really are.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of like what you want to do because, then it's a genuine conversation. It's like, we're just chatting it up and being real.
That's it. I like how you have a hand sanitizer too.
Hey, man, I don't know where you've been, Mark.
Yeah. Well, hi, good to see you.
We got a social distance, you're right here. In fact, you're like 2 feet away. A little too close for me right now.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, well, I'll get started. Here we go. Good morning. My name is Mark Smeltzer. Welcome to Get Marked Up. This is episode 54. Goodness gracious. And I know, dude, it's nutty. I've got Chuck Duran, the man, the myth, the legend of demos that rock. It is truly a blessing to have you on the show, and I'm so grateful that you're able to at least take some time, sit down, and talk about how much of a badass you truly are.
Well, I thank you for saying that. It's very sweet of you, Mark, and I appreciate it, buddy. I'm glad that I was able to carve out some time to hang out with you for a little bit and answer any questions you may have and just chat it up, man.
A lot of people don't know this probably, but you're from Cuba.
Yeah, I was actually born there. But before we get into that, I just want to say something that you said this is episode number 54.
Yeah.
Well, that would be in sign language. It would be
rock on, man. Demos that rock.
Huh? Come on, baby.
Yeah, baby.
How many times do you get to do that? Because if it was 53, it wouldn't work. It'd be like this, Anyway, so sorry about that. I'm a goofball, but
I love it.
So I was born in Cuba, and my family left there because of an urgent matter. My brother, who's 11 years older than I am. So when I was 3, he was like 13, 14. He tore a Fidel Castro poster off of the wall in school and tore it up, spit on it, stomped on it. He got arrested. And basically, the authorities took him home and gave my family an ultimatum. They say either he goes to jail for the rest of his life or you leave the country. And you can only leave with one suitcase, and you can take one suitcase with only clothing, no jewelry, no money, no nothing. So literally we had to leave our pets behind, our home behind, which my family owned, the businesses, that the bank accounts, everything you had to leave behind. And we were able to leave. In retrospect, I'm glad that happened. Otherwise, I'd be living in Cuba right now playing frickin' Flamingo guitar at the Copacabana, which would be a totally different lifestyle. But yeah, and so we literally moved to the States when I was about 3 or 4.
Well, I mean, I know that you say that you're musical too, with rock sugar, right?
Rock sugar. And I always tell people, if you don't know what rock sugar is and you've never heard my band Rock Sugar, and it's not just because I'm in it and I'm trying to be cool, because if I've never heard of it before and I saw it, I would be like, what the? And so go to YouTube and just enter Rock Sugar, and there's like tons of videos of us playing from little tiny clubs to in front of like 40,000 people, because we've opened up for Aerosmith, AC/DC, Linkin Park, Def Leppard, like all these giant acts in front of like humongous audiences, which is mind-blowing in and of itself. And we're working on a new record right now, which is almost done.
I love that. I've tried to follow some of your stuff on Instagram, and I know you get your buddies. Josh is right. Josh is in it.
Jess Harnell.
Jess, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Hi, Jess. Good morning.
Yeah. Well, you can call him Josh too. That's his AKA.
Oh, that was just terrible.
I'm sure there's a character that he plays called.
Yeah. Okay.
Josh. It's Jess
I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna cut that.
No, you gotta leave it. You gotta leave it, Mark. It's awesome.
Yeah, you gotta know the industry, right?
Listen, sometimes, hey, listen, Asian people call me Jack. So whenever an Asian person says, what's your name? And I say Chuck, they goes, oh, Jack. And I'm like, yeah. And they go like Jackie Chan. I'm like, exactly. So there's no need to correct that. You just got to go with the flow, man. It's called improv.
That's right.
Yeah, man. Jess Harnell, he's the singer of Rock Sugar. We've been best friends since we were like literally like 13 years old. And you know, he's one of the main guys in the animation world. So the people that don't know who he is, and which one of the reasons why Rock Sugar works so well. By the way, Rock Sugar is the concept is we take 80s pop songs and we mash them with 80s metal songs. So Rock Sugar, you get the pop and you get the hard. And the reason why we're able to do that is because Jess is so good at mimicking, because of his voiceover career, that he can mimic all these different singers. So when we're doing, you know, a Guns N' Roses tune that's mashed with, you know, Journey, you know, he's doing the Axl parts and he sounds like Axl, and then he goes into the Journey parts, the mashup, and he sounds like Steve Perry, and it's a crazy experience, because you literally feel like you're like, whoa, what just happened, you know, and it's all live, so nothing is pre-recorded or like, you know, or fake, or we don't lift, you know, things off of records or anything like that. Everything that we do ourselves.
What do you feel is the hardest part about recording an album during quarantine?
Well, I mean, to be really honest with you, luckily during quarantine, we've just been the guy, our producer / mixer, who's mixing our record right now, we were completely done. This is so weird. With the very last vocal of the record, like I'm going to say like 4 or 5 days before the quarantine started. So he's been mixing songs on his own. His name is Yoshi. Yossi. This guy's amazing. And he's been mixing and then sending us like really, really strong, almost final mixes of all the songs. And we're like, yeah, great. Because that way, as soon as quarantine is over, then we'll go in and do final mixing. So really, it hasn't impeded us at all. But I will also say this, that because, you know, Jess is so busy and, you know, I'm extremely busy, our bass player, his name is Mick, and he's a voice actor as well. And he's busy, and our drummer, who's, you know, playing in all these different acts around the world and stuff, he's really busy. So the cool thing about today's era is that you can record remotely from anywhere. So I do all the guitars from my studio right here where I'm sitting right now. Then I send all the Pro Tools session to our bass player, and then Mick lays down all the bass, and then we do we go to another studio, which is just a drum studio, and we do all the drums there. Now, in normal quarantine, we wouldn't be able to do that. So that's why we're happy that we got it done. And then we go to another studio to do all the vocals and mix. And that we can't do during quarantine either. But some of the stuff we can, some of the stuff we can't. The hardest thing about recording during a pandemic is that you can't really do it all, you know?
Yeah.
But unless you're a voice actor, and that's one of the great things about you guys and our industry of voiceover, is that Man, I've been doing remote sessions my entire life, right? Literally, like ever since we've had internet, we've been doing remote meetings and sessions. But the whole voiceover industry, once upon a time, you used to go to your agent to audition, and that's the only option you had.
Right.
And if you had a job, you would go to the studio and do the job, and that was the only option you had. And now you don't ever need to go to your agents to audition, and you could do jobs from home, especially now. And that's what clients are now starting to figure out is like, wait a minute, we can avoid this whole finding a studio, getting a studio to have this middle guy, if you would, because the talent now has a fully capable studio at home that we can produce jobs out of.
Right. I read an article. My girlfriend sent me an article last week.
Mark can read?
What?
You can read?
Oh,
I'm messing with you, Smeltzer.
I was like, wait a second. Apparently, I can't listen. I can't read. I don't remember names. This is great. This is a great promotion for me right now.
You are just way too marked up.
Oh wow. See,
you need to sober down a little bit.
There you go. So anyway, I was sent an article last week about how, technically old Hollywood's dead.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? What do you feel
that said Hollywood is dead?
Old Hollywood.
Old Hollywood. Yeah, man. I think, the business has changed a lot. And especially, the theatrical side of the industry, with still being in quarantine, and that being dead. So many more actors are looking into voiceover as a stream of revenue because they have found out that voiceover is not only can you legally still be doing it during quarantine, right? Because it's media. So you're totally legal there. There's no shutdown. And two, it's a remote business, and you're still acting. And so all of you guys have literally been on the front of the line of preparing for this moment, not even knowing that you were preparing for any moment. And I think that now, after pandemic, I think that more than ever, people are going to realize, wow, not only is this industry extremely important, because when this happened, the only people that could get the message out was you guys. The on-camera actors couldn't really do it. They won't even sit and have studios at home or anything. Right. So even if like Ford wanted to use, Brad Pitt to do that Ford commercial, they couldn't because Brad doesn't have a studio at home. That's not what he does, but you guys do. And I think that going forth, I don't think Hollywood's ever going to die. Nothing great ever dies. It just changes, and things change all the time. I remember when I used to wear bell bottoms. Pants because they were like hip and cool. And now people look at you wearing bell bottoms and you go like, wow, this guy, a nice costume. You know what I mean? You're good for Halloween or something like that.
Yeah. What set did you just get off of?
Exactly. But it's certainly not dead. It's stopped right now. And who knows how things are gonna actually come back, because every time that something major happens, things do change, but they morph into something a little bit differently. And we don't even know what that's going to be.
Well, do you feel that this whole quarantine thing really is kind of a good reset for society?
Absolutely.
I love how positive you are, first of all. Anyway, go on.
I always look at this, man. Sometimes you have to look, and I don't know, there's some people out there that are, that are faith, believers, and they believe in God, or they believe in, in Jesus, or whatever it is that they might believe in. But I do believe in a higher power. And I also believe that, anything that happens to me in my life, I always try to look at it as like it's happening for a reason, or it happened for a reason. What is the message here? What can I learn from it? Whether it's good or bad, right? Because listen, I'm not a little kid anymore. I've gone through so much crazy stuff, good and bad, that I can literally say, man, and what person has never said this? If I knew now what I know when I was 20, oh my gosh, you would tear up the world. You know what I mean? There's nothing that you can't do because so much. And that's what we gain from all these experiences, good or bad. You learn how to navigate the life, and
Yeah.
life is exactly that. You have to learn how to navigate the good and the bad, and you can't have the good without the bad. So always try to find the good in the bad. That's what I look at.
How have you got marked up in your life?
Well, what do you mean by marked up?
Well, okay, so like you said, there are lessons that you have to learn. You've been through some crazy stuff. What are some of the crazy things that you've been through that you don't really normally talk to people about?
I mean, there are so many. I mean, first of all, when I grew up in this town, I was very young when I moved here, and I had a dream, and that dream was to become a rock star. And that's it. And at 13 I started playing guitar, and I knew, man, I want to do this. This is what I want to do for a living. I want to be a rock star. And I didn't live here. I lived in Florida. My sister got married, had a couple of kids. As I said earlier, her and my brother are both 10 and 11 years older than I am. So when she moved here, and I was reading magazines that said, hey man, if you want to do music, you got to live in Los Angeles. That is the place. And I called her up and said, I want to come and live with you. I want to pursue my music, and that's the only place that I can do it. And if you guys let me live with you, I will take care of your kids. I will mow the lawn. I will wash your car. I'll go to school. I'll be good. If I mess up just one time, you can ship me back. And that's how bad I wanted it, and all through school, junior high and high school, I was so passionate about becoming a rock star, that it was just, that's all I can think about. And then, and I say this for a reason, because it didn't quite go as planned, and sometimes, I'm going to say almost all the time, life doesn't go as planned, so you get to a point in your life where things didn't quite, go as planned. And then as the years, went through, I started doing other things. I started producing music for commercials, because you got to make money, right? And I started doing music for commercials. And then I started doing music for parodies for, CBS comedy radio and things like that. And then I started producing song demos for people that wanted to become singers, and all this stuff while I was still trying to become a rock star, which is the hardest thing in the world to do. And it never happened like I wanted it to happen, but I had success in other areas because I still loved doing what I was doing, and the one thing that I can say is that years later, when I didn't really need to be a rock star anymore, I kind of grew out of it. That's when, we came up with a silly idea with a band for Rock Sugar. We made a record, we put it out, it went viral on YouTube. A week later, we got signed by Paradigm Talent, and a week after that, we were opening up for Aerosmith. So, when you don't want it and you're not looking for it, then it presents itself if you're prepared. So just keep preparing for whatever it is that you want, and find love in whatever it is that you're doing now. And that's why a lot of even voice actors now will say, hey, don't just be a voice actor. Go be a lot of things, be a voice actor. Go join a play. Go learn how to freaking fix cars, build airplanes, whatever it is, while you're still pursuing your dream. And everything that you do that has nothing to do with pursuing your dream will actually inject more passion into your dream. You know what I mean? But then you don't need it anymore. You just want it. And then it happens. And you can't learn that unless you go through it.
I agree with that 100%.
So that's one of the marks with me, is that if you're planted somewhere but you want to do something else, but you're really, really doing this and it's flourishing and it's going good, but you really want to do this and you're always battling yourself like, yeah, I know I got that, but I really want to do this. Don't do that. If you're planted there, bloom. That's what I tell everybody. Wherever you're planted, bloom. Because once you bloom, everything else in your life will follow. It just will. That is a definite. There's no way that it won't happen.
How do you feel people could be more grateful then while they're, because a lot of people are starving for that water in order to bloom.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, how is it that you practiced gratitude and where you were and growing, learning how to be okay with not having what you want, having that, not instant gratification all the time? What were some of the things that you did, some of the actions that you took personally?
Well, I mean, I'll be really honest with you. Through this whole time when I wanted to be a rock star and that's what I wanted to do. And then I found all these other things that I could still do for money. Okay. While the time came when, I became a rock star. I did it. Right. And so I was producing music. I had my own studio. I was producing song demos. I was, producing music for commercials and what happened is that during that time, I became really good at a lot of other things. And I had that fight where, I'm great at that, but I want to do that. Right. And so I remember, when my friend Jess Harnell's father died and I went to his service. It's a really, really special service. And one guy, friend of his, got up on stage and said, I remember when I went to Joe's house and on this big giant piano, he had a giant frame like this with a little note this big. And on that little note, it said, wherever you're planted, bloom. And literally everything went black and it just hit me. And I'm like, wow, man, that was so powerful. Wherever you're planted, bloom. And I was producing demos at that time, voiceover demos. And I remember I thought to myself, you know what? I really enjoy producing voiceover demos because it gives me the opportunity to help people. It's not just something that I do to make money. It's something that I do to help people. And the moment that I switched it from making money to helping people, everything changed. And then I said to myself, you know what? If this is where I'm planted, I'm going to bloom. I don't want to be a voiceover demo producer. I want to be the voiceover demo producer, right? And I literally put all of my efforts and all of my thoughts to how can I help people get what they want? And with that focus, which has been my focus for years now, I'm able to help people get what they want. I can't even begin to tell you how many people I've worked with that have gone from like, yeah, man, I really want to do voiceovers to making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year doing voiceovers, right? And seeing them go from 0 to freaking 150 by implementing, the skills. You got to be great at what you do, but also the heart, put the love in it. The audition is the job. You can't look at an audition. It's like, oh God, I hope I get this. What if I don't get this? Blah, blah. The audition is the job. And the more it becomes the job for you, the more you love doing that, the better your chances of actually booking it and making money from that job that is only in the audition stage. You know what I mean? You got to switch it from making money to loving and helping people. So looking at an audition that comes in and saying, okay, somebody wrote these words. There's a company that paid the guy that wrote these words. Why did McDonald's pay that guy for these words? What is it about these words that got McDonald's to say, that's clever, I'll take it? It's your job to find out why they paid for those words and then take those words and bring them to life so that you help the writer communicate what he initially wanted to communicate with those words. It was explained to McDonald's, that's why they paid for it, but it's not really explained to you. But if you care enough to become that little piece of the puzzle to get that message out the way it was intended to get out, and you put enough thought and care into it to want to do that, to become the piece of the puzzle, you get the job. Because you're not thinking about the money.
I truly love how sincere that just was.
That is just the way that I think and I process and I try to help people to understand that the moment that you take the focus away from where it should not be at and you put it to where it needs to be, that's when you bloom.
I can see why Stacy likes you, bro.
Some guys would argue that. Be like, what the hell does Stacy see in that? Yeah, Stacy is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful girl, man. And I remember we've been together for almost, a little over 11 years now. And when I laid eyes on that girl, I was just like, wow. And not just because her looks, because she's definitely a looker.
She's gorgeous, man.
She's absolutely gorgeous, but it was more than that. When I got to talk to her, we were friends for 2 years before we ever even dated.
Right.
And we became really, really good friends. And I used to love talking to her. We'd have conversations for hours, right? And I would just remember, man, I have never met a person as cool as this. She's intelligent, she's smart, she's clever, she's funny, she's real. And if you ever have like a situation or a problem, you talk to her, she will give you not a good option to take care of it. She will give you the best freaking option that you could possibly do to take care of whatever dilemma you might have in your life. That's who she always is. So whenever I go up to her and say, hey, babe, this happened, what do you think I should do? She'll say, this is what you should do. And you're just like, exactly. That's not what I would have done, mind you. But whatever she tells me to do is exactly the right thing you do. You ever heard it said that typically the right thing to do is always the hardest thing to do? So
That's right.
People, very rarely will people actually do the right thing or say the right things because they're the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Well, she always gives that advice, and whatever advice it is, it's always the hardest thing to do, but it's the right thing to do.
So it sounds like you two are a power couple.
Yeah, I think we give each other, power. I think we give each other, the permission to be ourselves. I've never tried to change 1 ounce of anything that she is. And she's never tried to change 1 ounce of anything that I am. And we know each other's strengths. And I do what I'm really strong at, and she does what she's really strong at. And then we come together as a team with our strengths, and it makes us really, really stronger. As opposed to people that are like, oh, okay, well, let's both be good at this. No, you know what I mean? When you have a team, that's not how teams work. You got a quarterback. He's really good at being the quarterback, so he's going to be that, and then you have the other players, and everybody has a job, man. And if you know what your partner's strengths are, encourage them, fuel them, energize them, encourage them to become better at that. And then you take your strengths and make those even stronger. And then together you're unstoppable. That's just what I feel.
No, dude, I agree with that 100%. I feel like a lot of people, a lot of couples, a lot of just people in general, they focus too much on their weaknesses.
Totally. And I mean, it's like we all have weaknesses, sure. Nobody is perfect. If we were going to point out everybody's imperfections, nobody would ever really want to be with anybody because, they're imperfections. But man, when you can look at somebody and say, yeah, they got this and they have that and the blah, blah, and they're this and they're that, but they have this.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And that little thing right there that they have, man, is like, that's what they are all about. And for me, that's the big thing. That's why one of the things that I always tell people too, like voice actors, is I always say this in a read. And I remember even talking with you when we recorded your demo recently, Mark, that I think I mentioned this in one of my direction. And that's like, whatever your read is, whatever the specs are on that commercial or promo or whatever, it needs to start. The first ingredient of that read needs to be you.
That's right.
It needs to be Mark. And then we season it with whatever other little colors or whatever it is that we want to vibe or whatever we want the flavors to be, right? We season it. But if it doesn't start with Mark, see, a lot of people start with the seasoning first. And then what happens is the read comes out and there's no Mark. There's just seasoning.
I remember you saying that.
Right? And all of a sudden it's like, so it's upside down. You got the concept, but it's upside down. No, start with the base, the foundation, which is you and what you bring to the table, and then season that a little bit. Smile a little faster, a little slower, a little higher, a little lower, right? A little bit of swagger, a little bit of cool, a little bit of nerdiness, over enunciate, under enunciate. These are flavors, right? That we add to the base that makes up that really, really killer read. And it's like, it's really freaking simple, but we don't really think about it like that because all we're focused on is the money.
Yeah. And it's hard to do because, being you is the right thing, but so many people don't want to be themselves.
Yeah, I know. And that's, and that is a problem because the bottom line is this, okay? What everybody has, especially nowadays, when you look at today, the biggest, most popular specs on anything is real, relatable, sincere, authentic, right? That starts off with the person. So that now more than ever tells you that whatever you do in life, it needs to start with you, with your heart, who you are, what you are, what you believe in, what you dislike, what all those things, because that makes up you. And when people can hear that or feel that, it's inevitable. It's undeniable. You can't say no to that.
That's right.
And so even if you hate who you are, unfortunately, that's what you need to hold on to, because that is what gives you your power. That is your own identity. That's your DNA, right? That is your signature. You were born with it. You can't buy it.
And a lot of people are afraid of that.
They're totally afraid of that. Yeah. And because, listen, it's hard, man. It's hard to, sometimes you put up a border or.
People don't only wear face masks, but they're actually wearing masks.
Yeah, exactly. And they put up a big front and they don't really, they don't want to reveal themselves because maybe they'll get hurt. Maybe they have.
Yeah.
Maybe they have been hurt. And I always say, this is what I am. When I meet somebody, I give them all the benefit of the doubt. Okay. They are the greatest person that ever walked the planet Earth. That's what I think about a person when I first meet them. And people will show you, not tell you, because they'll always lie to you when they tell you who they are. But
they will show you
who they are. And that doesn't have words. You have to use your eyes and you have to look at it and say, that's who they really are. When you find out who they really are, then you can determine whether that's something that you want to be around or not. I do not let negativity, bad people that have bad thoughts, about anybody in my circle. I don't let those people into my circle. I just don't. Why? Because, I don't have to.
Yeah.
I don't live in a world where I have to. Again, I don't do what I do for money. I do it because I love doing it and I want to help. So if I'm going to help somebody, they better be cool. Because the moment that they're not cool, I don't want to work with them anymore. And if I'm doing it just for the money, I don't want to do it. You see what I'm saying? So I'm telling you right now, I have told so many people, I don't think we're the right fit for each other. Maybe
you fired a client.
Maybe I fired a client. Maybe you should go seek out, somebody else. There are other demo producers out there that are wonderful. Maybe you should go seek them out. And I've done that a few times. I've also had people in my booth who said they were ready, told me that they coached with so and 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 so, and that they were ready. And I brought them into my booth, and they weren't ready for a demo. And can I spend 4 hours with somebody and get some great reads and do some crazy editing and have them sound really, really great? Yeah, but that's not a great experience for me, and it's not a great experience for them, and they're never going to be able to replicate that. So I would rather bring them out of the booth, have them train a little bit more, maybe with somebody of my choosing, so I know that they're going to get properly coached and prepped for delivering job reads, not just coach reads. And then we do a session and do it right. They have a great experience. I have a great experience, and now they can replicate that.
And I tell you, from experience, you are an incredible human being to work with, and I appreciate what you did for me.
Well, thank you, man. It was my pleasure, and it was very easy to do what I did for you. because you brought the goods, and I love that. And by the way, I have to mention this. Mark is the only guy that has ever come to my studio for a meeting who actually brought me a plant.
Oh yeah, orchids, my favorite flower.
He brought me orchids, and
I love orchids.
I go and I open the door for him, and he's holding orchids, and I was like, "This is for you, man." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I want to give the guy a kiss." I feel like maybe I should kiss him or something.
This was before quarantine.
This was way before quarantine, and I just thought that was so cool. That, I mean, who does that? You know what I mean? But you know what? That tells me a lot about you, because you didn't do that to try to get me to like you. You didn't do that. You did that because you like orchids, and you want to pass on something.
Because I wanted to.
You wanted to, and I totally got that, Mark. I completely and totally got that. It was so unbelievably cool, man. And it's still here, by the way. I have it right here on my table. And I told people about it. I told Bob Bergen about it. I told, a lot of other friends about it. Hey, you're not going to believe what this guy, Mark Smeltzer, did today. What did he do? He brought me some orchids, man. Can you believe that? What? So I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for just thinking outside that box and for just doing a little something that actually, as little as you may have thought that a gesture like that might be, it's humongous for other people. Sure. For you, it might be this, but for me and for others that you do a little tiny thing for, it's humongous. So
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a great note to end on. And I'm going to put the demo that you made, that we made together at the end of this interview here. So Chuck, I'm going to let you go, man. I appreciate you.
All right, buddy. Got to get back to work. Woo.
Yeah. Go kick some ass.
All right, brother. Have a good one. And to all the listeners and viewers out there, this dude right there, Mark Smeltzer, man, he freaking rocks. Episode number 54. Let's not forget. Hey, get marked up. Yeah. I'll talk to you later, buddy. Have a good one.
You too, man. Thanks a lot.
Peace out, man.
Take care.
Bye.
This place shows no mercy, but it's still an absolute blast. Load up your arsenal and join in the mayhem. You know what to do. Borderlands 3, rated M for mature. Tradition that's been going strong for 55 years has been reimagined. Behold, the powerful new breed of Mustang you have to feel to believe. The all-electric Ford Mach-E. Life is better when it's done the Google way. Remember what matters to you and more. Google, a little help with the little things. Ross has the trends everyone wants to be wearing. Trust me, even for us guys too. And compared to other places, everything costs a fraction of the price. Now I'm terrible at math, and even I can see how amazing these deals are. Privacy. It's a simple word with a giant impact. What you share and who gets to see it is your choice. At least that's what we believe. Apple. Just 4 easy steps and 3 minutes is all it takes to feed your pizza craving. Use the Pizza Rev app to choose your crust, sauce, cheese, and fresh toppings like Beyond Meat Italian sausage, and your delicious masterpiece will be waiting for you to pick up. Grab a slice and skip the line at Pizza Rev.
Good morning.